Greetings of the day. My name is Bhaviya Chopra, and this is my video presentation for assignment 4 for the course Ethics and Leadership. And assignment 4 basically focuses on whistleblowing and leadership. So, this is the part 1A of the video presentation, part 1A. Before moving forward, I would like to discuss that my last three digits of my student ID are 417. That means my first country would be Sri Lanka, second would be Brazil, and third would be Nigeria. And without wasting any further time, I would like to, in the part 1A, I'll be discussing two major laws relating to the whistleblowing in Sri Lanka. So the first major law would be the that I found with was the Assistance to and Protection of Victim of Crime and Witness Act, which of 2015, and this was passed in 2015 March 7. What all references I have covered as from the government of Sri Lanka's website and internet resources. I would like to share my screen here. Just a minute. Yes. So here I'm discussing about the Assistance to and Protection of Victims of Crime and Witness Act 2015 number 4. So in this act, basically what we have been struggling is like we have this act basically aims to provide comprehensive protections for crimes and victims of crimes and witnesses, including all the whistleblowers. It also covers the various sectors, including government, commercial, and healthcare. Key provisions that include are protection measures. The law establishes mechanisms to protect victims and witnesses from um, any harm, ensuring their safety and security. It also ensures assistance services, by which I mean like it provides for medical and psychological and legal assistance to victims and witnesses. So it's pretty good in this regards. And furthermore, it also helps with other rights and obligations. Basically, the act outlines the rights of victims and witnesses, including the rights to privacy, fair treatment, and the right to be informed about the progress of investigation and legal proceedings. Lastly, what I find is like there is a special protection unit for this law, which means the law mandates the establishment for a special protection unit within the police force to enforce this measure. So there is a separate unit within the police force that for especially for this task. So it's one in itself a great point. It also like the enforcement is carried out by the National Authority of Protection of Victims of Crime and Witnesses, which basically collaborates with the police and judicial system. And the Special Protection Unit plays a crucial role in the protection measures. So if I've talked about the effectiveness of this law can be mixed. While it provides a robust legal framework for the protection of whistleblowers and witnesses, implementation has faced challenges due to limited resources and occasional lapses in enforcement. Nonetheless, it represents a significant step forward in safeguarding the whistleblowers in Sri Lanka. So this was my first law that I wanted to share. Another law that I want to share is the just a minute. Let me share. Here we are. Okay, the Right to Information Act. So by this, what I mean is the Right to Information Act 2016, it was passed in 2016 August 4. And basically what all resources that I have covered is the again the government of Sri Lankan's parliament's website and their PDF. public institutions and the commercial and healthcare sectors are all the coverages that have been used. Basically, this act aims to promote transparency and accountability by granting the citizens the right to access information held by public authorities, right? While it primarily targets public entities, it also affects other sectors like commercial, healthcare, like through its broad scope. Like this includes right to access information. Citizens have the right to request information about public authorities, which must respond within a specific time frame. So it guarantees a time frame within which they'll get to know the response of their queries. So they have this right to information, and information of our officers, public authorities are required to import the information officers to handle RTA requests, and there's a appeal mechanism. It provides a framework for appeal in case of denied or unsatisfactory responses, right? And so we can also appeal for that. If I talked about the enforcement, enforcement of the RTI Act was is seen by the Right to Information Commission, which has the authority to investigate complaints, investigate issues, and impose penalties for non-compliance. And the RTI Act is generally seen as an effective in promoting transparency and accountability. It has been widely used by journalists, activists, and many citizens to uncover information and uphold public official accountables. So this was all for this part. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Hi again. So it's me back, and this is the part 2A of the video series that we are following. And in this part, again, this is the part 2A of the video series, and in this part, I'll be basically describing one major whistleblowing incident for the country Sri Lanka, and describe the issues that were faced and all. So, the major whistleblowing incident known in Sri Lankan history was the bond scam scandal that happened in 2015, and then which is also known as the central bank bond scam. So we can know that the Central Bank of Sri Lanka was involved in this incident. So I'd like to share my screen here too. Share. Okay. Yeah. So the scandal erupted in 2015, and basically the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, also known as CBSL, and the Insurance of Treasure Bonds. The case drew massive public and political attention due to the high-profile individuals involved, and so it was a really big incident that happened in Sri Lankan history. So the primary issues involved in the scandals were the irregular bond insurance. So what happened was on February 2015, the bank under the leadership of Governor Arjuna Mahendrajan issued treasury bonds worth 10 billions, far exceeding the initially announced 1 billion. So that's a lie. The insurance process was found to be irregular and lacked transparency. So that was again a thing. And also, there was a conflict of interest by which it was revealed that the governor, Arjuna Mahindra's son-in-law Arjuna, was a key figure in the Treasuries Limited, the company that benefited significantly from the bond auction. So this presented a clear conflict of interest because then families were involved, and then different organizations were taking benefit from this. So financial misconduct. The Treasury Limited acquired a substantial portion of the bonds at very low price and sold them at a higher rates, making a lot of profit at the expense of the state and public. So clearly public money was being used and played with that. So what happened was that the whistleblower in this case was the Auditor General of Sri Lanka, who raised concerns about the irregularities in the bond insurance process. And the treatment for the whistleblower involves several aspects. First of all, the official investigation that happened, the Auditor General finding led by the in multiple investigations, including those by the Committee on Public Enterprises. Basically, then there was a public backlash and support. So people were also angry because of course their money was being used in forms like all that was bond, but that was public money, right? And so there was also legal protection, although the auditor general had some degrees of legal protection due to his official capacity. The lack of robust whistleblower protection laws at that time meant that risk was high. So, um, how this was like addressing the unethical activity was that the investigations and commissions, actions were taken against Mr. Arjuna and his son-in-law, along with other involved parties, faced legal proceedings and reforms and changes. So this scandal led to increased scrutiny of the bank operations and promoted calls for reforms to improve basically transparency and accountability in the financial sector. And it was effective to the response to how like it increased the awareness among people. The incident raised public awareness among the about the car about the corruption and the needs for transparency in financial dealing. And then there was legal and institutional reforms, like some reforms were implemented to ensure that the bank governance, but challenges remains in fully addressed, like systematic issues, right? And there was also legal challenges, how like legal proceedings continue with mixed success in holding all responsible parties accountable. So the complexity of the case and the involvement of high profile individuals have actually slowed down the process. But this was a big scandal in the whistle in this Sri Lankan history, as it could be seen that this has like raised a lot of public awareness after this thing happened. So, yes, this was all from this part. I hope I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Hi, so this is the part 3A of the video series that we are following. And in this part, I'll be sharing a prominent personality that I feel was a great leader in Sri Lankan history. I'll share my views about that person and I'll share why I choose that person based upon his characteristics. I'll cover his vision, integrity, like goals, like whatever I would have found interesting. I would try to share as much as possible in this video series. And so without wasting any further time, I'll try to share my screen. Share. So he is none other than Mr. Ranil. I have hard time in pronouncing his last name. So he is Mr. Ranil Shinge. Okay. So throughout this video, I'll just say Mr. Ranil. And there's a whole article, beautiful article about him on BBC. And all the information, most of that has been gone through it. So if you guys need it, it's in the references too. And okay, so as the headline says that Mr. Ranil is the six-time Sri Lankan Prime who became president. So as we can see, right, he was already a prime minister and a president. So that's a very big thing. There are not many people who have served both the positions of prime minister and president in any country's history. So we can say that he was a prominent political leader in Sri Lanka because of his long-standing influence in country's politics and his roles in as a prime minister. So he played a crucial role in shaping Sri Lanka's political and economical landscape, making him a significant figure for analysis. Okay, and I'm now moving on. What all perspective, or if I scan his profile, what was his vision, what integrity he shared? I'll cover as much as I could possible. So if I see with his vision. He has a vision of modern, economically developed, and globally integrated Sri Lanka. He advocates for economic reforms, establishment in infrastructure, and strengthening democratic institutions. So during his tenure, he promoted policies aimed at economically liberation, such as attracting foreign investments and developing in tourist sectors. And integrity wise, he has been praised and cautioned over his career. He has been a prominent for democratic values and good governance, but he has also faced criticism related to various political and financial controversies. Like his name was also in being said in the bond scam, as we discussed before, but he came out as clean. So we can say that shown he had shown trust, or we can say he was ethically right throughout his career. And a good example as a leader, he often demonstrates a commitment to democratic principles and political stability. And so throughout his career, he has always focused on political stability, be it any party, or he was always there in political crisis. And he was known for a very calm and cool mentor or leadership. His goals have focused on economical development, political reforms, and strengthening international relations too. So his government worked on policies to boost economical growth, including initiatives to improve the business environment and attract foreign investment. And he also participation his participation and collaboration among his peers to broader political community. Like he was not only involved with his party, but he also was known that he was asking the opposition parties for a healthy political debate, so that the critics could be encouraged, right? And he was known to engage in coalition building and seek support for major legislative initiatives. So that's a really good point. And he has also emphasized the importance of accountability in government. Though his own tenure has faced scrutiny, like during his tenure, we all know that we had the bond scam. So more or less during his leadership, he supported the establishment for oversight mechanisms and commissions to investigate corruption and ensure transparency. And challenges authority has shown a willingness to challenge established authority when necessary, particularly in advocating for democratic governance. Like his stance during political crises, such as the 2018 constitutional crisis in Sri Lanka, demonstrated his commitment to uphold the constitution and democratic norms. And if I say that political guidance to his followers, he often speaks about the importance of ethical governance and the rule of law. So his followers can say that, can stand on this, and his public address frequently emphasized the need for integrity, accountability, and adherence to political principles in public service. He also shows a strong belief in his ability to influence and steer the country's direction through his policies and actions. Like his policies actually did implemented the country's decisions and the reforms. So he brought reforms to the countries for economics and infrastructure. So this shows how strong personality he was. And his political career shows elements for strategical maneuvering, particularly in coalition building and maintaining political power. So his ability to navigate complex political landscapes, build alliance, and maintain like his position in leadership roles illustrates how strong personality he was. So this was my reason or my belief why I choose Mr. Ranil. There's a whole article on BBC, Al Jazeera, the diplomat. He's very known personality. So if you guys have any question, you can Google his name and you'll find bunch lot of content. And I hope you like my content. Thank you. Bye guys. So, welcome again. And this is the part 1B of the video series. And this time my country is Brazil, since my second last number of my student IDs is one. So it's Brazil, right? And I'll be discussing two major laws related to the whistleblowing for Brazil. And without any further delay, let's begin. So the law number one is law number 13, and it was passed in 2008. Basically, this here laws are basically in numbers, in form of numbers, and there's less known by name. So I'll share my screen for you guys. And so this is the whistleblowers protection in Brazil and overview. So the whistleblower protection in Brazil, or we can say, yep. So basically, what we are trying to say is that this law, which is law number 13608, was formulated in January 10, 2018, was designed. Basically, this is a very nice article on LinkedIn, and I'll try to put this in the reference too. So this law was designed to encourage whistleblowing by offering protection and regards to those who report criminal activities. And this law covers a broad range of sectors, including government, commercial enterprises, and healthcare. And this basically includes anonymous reporting. It allows any anonymous reporting for criminal activities to protect the identity of whistleblowers, and it also has a reward system too. So that's amazing reward. So whistleblowers may receive financial rewards if their information leads to recovery of public funds and protection measures. So this law includes protection to protect whistleblowers from from any kind of harassment or loss. And enforcement was carried in 2018 by the federal and state agencies. Special hotlines and online portals have been set up to receive whistleblowing reports for this, and it came of effectiveness was mixed. While it had led to an increase in the number of reports of corruption and other crime, there have been challenges in ensuring comprehensive protection of whistleblowers. Some cases of have been reported where there is an ongoing debate about the adequacy of protection measures. So this was the law number one, and the law number two is law number 12,846, 2013, and it is also known as the Clean Company Act. So here is the Clean Company Act here, Brazil's Clean Company Act, how US, UK, and global models can influence enforcement. So this is the another law. Basically, this is a really good PDF that I found on internet, and I tried to grasp whatever I could. Although it is about how these countries can learn from this act, but I'll try to formulate about this act as brief as I could. So this was passed in August 1st, 2013, and basically it covers the commercial and government sectors. So this Clean Company Act aims to combat corporate corruption and promote ethical business practices. So this also applies to both public and private sectors, focusing on holding companies accountable to corrupt practices. Key features of this law includes liability of legal entities. So companies can be held liable for act of corruption committed by the employees or representatives, regardless of whether the top management was aware or not. And the administrative and civil sanctions. So the law provides for heavy fines and other administrative sanctions against companies found guilty of corruption. Sanctions and other can include suspension or disclosure of the company. So this is another major feature of this law. And lastly, these companies can disclose corruption and corporate, basically They can cooperate with investigations, can enter into arguments which may reduce the penalties imposed. So this was imposed by the Office of Computer General and the Federal Public Prosecution Office. These agencies are responsible for investigating reports of corruption, enforcing sanctions, and negotiating arguments. So this act has been an significant step forward in Brazil's fight against the corruption. It has led to numerous high-profile investigations and penalties against major corruptions. However, the challenges remain in the constant application of the law and ensuring that companies implement effective compliance programs. So, these two laws I have tried to cover in this video. I hope you like the content. Stay tuned for another video. Till then, thank you. Greetings. So it's me back again. And this is the part 2B of the video presentation series. Let me check if it's right. Yes, it is the part 2B of the video presentation series. And in this video, I'll be basically focusing on the one of the major incident that happened in the Brazilian history regarding to whistleblowing. So I'll discuss the whole issue in detail and I'll try to how it was treated. Basically, the one um that I'm trying to explain in this video was the Petrobras corruption scandal, also known as the Operations Car Wash. Why is it known as car wash? I'll tell you in more detail. But before that, I want to share my screen with you. So just a minute, share screen, option share. I hope my screen's visible to you. So, so what we are trying to figure out here is the oh, there's a good article on BBC again. BBC has covered the whole corruption scandal that you must be knowing the 2014. It happened in 2014. And since 2014, Brazil has been gripped by a scandal that started with a state-owned oil company and grew to people at various top of business. Okay, and yeah, what is Operation Car Wash? So before going in detail, I have to give you a brief background. What was this about? So yeah, so this kind of basically the Petrobras corruption scandal, also known as the Operation Car Wash, is one of the most significant whistleblowing incidents in the Brazilian history. It began in March 2014 and involved widespread corruption within Petrobras, the state-controlled oil company, and extended to many politicians and business executives. So, what was the issue, right? So, it was the bribery. So, the exclusives at Petrobras were found to be accepting bribes from the construction companies exchange of awarding lucrative contracts. The companies then exchanged Petrobras for their services, inflating contract values. So a significant portion of the bribe money was funed to politicians and political parties, mainly the Workers' Party, to finance election campaigns and personal expenses. So, right? And there was money laundering involved too. The investigation uncovered an extensive network of money laundering schemes involving numerous financial institutes and shell companies to hide the illicit proceedings. So this was the whole scam. Why is it known as the? I hope you now know why it was known as the car wash scam. And another, there's a beautiful article on the Financial Times that I was reading. I want to show you too. Why is the Petrobras scandal that igniting Brazil? And here I've found like why has been embodying in scandal. And actually, this is a really nice video. How's you should watch. I would appreciate if you would watch. It's on YouTube too. The link would I will try to give the link of this article in the reference too. And so basically, yeah, I was telling you about the treatment of that, right? So the whistleblowers in Operation Car Wash were treated with a mix of protection and legal initiatives. So many individuals involved in the scandal turned whistleblowers after being caught entering into arguments with prosecutors. The agreements reduced the sentences in exchange of the cooperation and testimony. So some whistleblowers received protection due to high-profile nature of the scandal and the protection and the potential threats of their lives. While some viewed the whistleblowers as necessary actors in exposing corruption, others saw them as a part of the corrupt system only cooperating to save themselves. So it's more or less what this treatment, how it was treated, and how it was addressing the unethical activity. Basically, hundreds of executives, politicians, and businessmen, people were prosecuted and convicted. Notable figures including former President Luis Lula da Silva and several executives from major construction firms were found into the scandal. Petrobras and other involving companies implemented intensive compliance programs and cooperative governance reforms to prevent further corruption. And the scandal suppressed public demand for political reforms, lending to changes in campaign finance laws and stricter oversight of public contracts. And the scandal increased transparency and accountability in both the public and private sectors, and the widespread of media coverage and public outcry forced institutions to adopt more stringent measures against corruption. The Brazilian judiciary demonstrated its independence and vigilance to tackle high level corruption, setting a precedent for future cases. While the scandal initially harmed Brazil's economy due to the instability it caused in key industries, the long-term effect has been a more robust regulatory environment aimed to prevent corruption. So this was all about this scandal. I hope I tried to share as much detail as I could, and that was all from my side. I hope you like my content and stay tuned for the next video. Till then, thank you. Welcome back, guys. So this is the part. Sorry. Yeah, this is the part 3B of the video series that we have been following. In this video, I'll be discussing one of the prominent politician leader or from Brazil that I have covered here, and I'll explain why I choose this leader based upon his personalities, and I'll try to cover as much as I could about his vision, integrity, and a good example, his career, how he was accountable, all I will try to cover as much as possible. So he's none other than Mr. Luis Lula da Silva. Yes, I have heard about him before. I was researching about him too. So this was out of curiosity. I came to know a lot more about him. And yeah, so Mr. Luis Lula da Silva, also known as Mr. Lula, is chosen for his significant impact to Brazil's political leader landscape. I'll share my screen with you. Share screen. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. So as we can see, I was going through an article and this was covered by The Economist. The Lula's legacy, life is better for Brazilians than it was 8 years ago. So, but Lula is leaving unsolved problems for his chosen successors who tackle in person management. So he was a prominent leader in Brazil's history, and like why I choose him because he is he was a major political figure for Brazil as a and he was a former president and a prominent figure in the Workers' Party. His leadership has shaped the Brazil's modern social economic policies and approach to tackle inequality. And if we talk about his vision, so Mr. Lula, um, as a leader of Brazil, has reduced poverty and inequality, striving for social justice and economic development. And for example, like his program, which provided financial aid to poor families, significantly reduced poverty and improved education and healthcare sectors outcome for millions of Brazilians. So it was a great initiative by Mr. Lula, and so that helped the people of Brazil to a lot extent. And if I talk about his integrity has been questioned due to his involvement in corruption a lot. because his name was involved in a lot of scandals, but his early years as a labor leader and his efforts to uplift the poor earned him a reputation for advocating for the unprivileged. So he was a kind of a guardian for a lot of people in Brazil, and still he's known as a good figure if you talk to Brazilians. Despite his later legal troubles, many Brazilians still view Mr. Lula as a campaign of the working class due to extensive social programs and efforts to reduce inequality. So, this article, Brazilians applause Lula's return to democracy, to diplomacy as he addresses Union Legal Assembly. So he like Brazilians so like him a lot because of his policies and his reforms that he has brought in Brazilian history. So he's a very um, I would say a prominent personality. Like one good example is like he set an example by rising for extreme poverty to become the president. He was himself born in a very extreme family and he rose to the president position. So that's a very big thing and demonstrating that anyone can achieve greatness regarding of their background. So this thing meant a lot to me, like his background, like his schooling and all. His life story inspired many, showing that dedication can lead to significant achievements, right? Regardless of one's social economic status. And his goals were also really great. Like Lula had clear goals for reducing poverty. He was always trying to help the low level class or the middle class of the society by increasing access to education, that's a plus point, and healthcare, and promoting economic reforms. So clearly you can see he was ideal for many, and his administration focused on social programs like Bolsa Familia, and like which means zero hunger, and expanding access to higher education through program like university for all program. So he wanted everybody to get higher level of education. So that was really good thing. Basically we can see that he wants to end poverty and bring education and healthcare to the society, to the people of Brazil. And so it encourages, so he encouraged political engagement and and social activism, inspiring others to participate in democratic reforms and advocates for their rights. So um, he was always fighting for people rights. Like his leadership in the labor movement and later as a president motivated many to become politically active and fight for social justice. So clearly we can say that he was a very guy who could encourage people for based on his personality. Lula's administration implemented policies that required accountability and transparency in government programs. So the establishment of the corridor, an agency dedicated to preventing, investigating corruption within the federal government. So he has led to many agencies that actually prevented the corruption to a extent. And Mr. Lula has a history of challenging authority, and he always challenged the authority from his early days as a labor leader to his presidency. He's always seen questioning authorities and fighting for rights of people. As a labor leader, he organized strikes and protests against the military dictatorship. And as president, he pushed back against elite interests to implement his social programs. Despite controversies, Lula has emphasized the importance of fighting for the unprivileged and maintaining social justice. His speeches often focuses on the need of ethical governance and the importance of liking people out of poverty through equitable policies. Again, same thing. He was favorite amongst the poor class of the society, and Lula believes that in his ability to influence and change social political landscape of Brazil through his action and policies. His proactive approach to governance, extremified by his ambitious social programs and efforts to foster economic growth, demonstrates his strong internal locus of control. Lula has shown strategical political maneuvering particularly in building alliance and maintaining power, like his ability to form coalition with various political parties to pass legislation and his strategical appointments in key positions to support and influence his tactics. So he was a very smart yet a very humble person who would always think about the unprivileged or the low class society of the people by bringing reforms, be in education, um, healthcare, or bringing access or resources to everybody. So this was all for this video, and I hope you liked it. And for if you have any more, you want any more details, you can simply write his name on Google and you'll find a bunch of content regarding the same. Thank you. Hi. So welcome to the another part, that is the part 1C of the video series that we've been following, and this is the last country that we are targeting, and this is Nigeria. So this time I'll be discussing two major laws regarding the whistleblowing for Nigeria, and I'll try to be brief as possible about them. So the first law is the Whistleblowing Protection Act that was passed in 2017, and basically it covers the government and public sectors of Nigeria. So without any delay, I'll share my screen, share. Yeah. So this is this is all about the whistleblowing program. The Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Penancy whistleblowing program is designed to encourage anyone with the information about violation of financial regulations and mismanagement of public funds and assets and public malpractices, fraud and theft to report it. So basically, this program, this Protection Act aims to provide protection for individuals who exposed wrongdoing in public sectors. The law encourages citizens to report financial crimes, corruption, and other forms of misconduct by offering protections and initiatives. The main feature of the act include basically defines the whistleblowing as a disclosure for information which a person responsibly believes shows evidence for wrongdoing such as mismanagement, corruption, fraud, and illegal activities within the public sector. And whistleblowers are protected from irritation, including dismissals, harassment, or any form of unfair treatment at their workplace. And whistleblowers are also entitled to reward in usually a percentage of the recovered amount if the information leads to recovery of stolen public funds. So that's a plus point. The enforcement of the Whistleblower Act is managed by the Federal Ministry of Finance, and the ministry has was established a dedicated unit to handle whistleblower submissions, verify claims, and ensure the protection of whistleblowers. The effectiveness of Whistleblowers Protection Act has been mixed. While there has been notable successions in recovering stolen funds and exposing corruptions, challenges remain in ensuring consistent protection of whistleblowers. Instances of There has been some instances of relation and inadequate upflow on reports have been reported, and the law has raised basically awareness and encouraged more people to come forward with information of corruption. So this was the law of Whistleblowers Protection Act 2017. Another one that I'm trying to figure out is the Freedom of Information Act 2011. Basically, there was not much on the internet, but what all I gathered was that this was formulated in 2011, and it also covers the government and public sectors. And it has basically was enacted to promote transparency and accountability in government by providing the public with the right to access information held by public institutions. So it covers right to access information. Citizens who have the right to request and retrieve information about the activities and public institutions includes financial records, contracts, and operation procedures. Public institutions are required to keep proper records and respond to information requests within 7 days. So there's a time frame. Certain information is expected from disclosure, including information related to national security, defense, and personal. privacy. So the enforcement of the this is seen by the National Human Rights Commission and the courts. So individuals who are denied access to information can file complaints with the commission or seek help through the judiciary. And public institutions are required to help the freedom of information officers to manage information requests. So this has been a significant impact on promoting transparency through challenges remain. Although there have been challenges, some public institutions have been slow to comply with this act, and the enforcement mechanism are not always effective. Now, not like the institution has empowered citizens, and this act has empowered citizens and civil society organizations to hold the government accountable. So these were the two laws that we covered here, and they were like for like the Whistleblowing Protection Act 2017 and um the Freedom of Information Act 2011. Thank you. Hi. So I'm back again, and this is the part 2C. I'm sorry, this is the part Yeah, this is the part 2C of the video series that I've been following, and in this video sub video, I'll be focusing one major whistleblowing incident of Nigeria, and I'll try to explain what it was and what were the issues involved, how it was treated, and all. So the incident name is the NNPC whistleblowing incident that happened in 2017. So basically, in 2017, Nigeria witnessed a significant whistleblowing incident involving the Nigerian National Corporation, Petroleum Corporation. So it was the Petroleum Corporation involved, and the whistleblower, Mr. Oladile, a former employee of the NNPC, exposed alleged corruption and mismanagement within the corporation, significantly regarding the misappropriation of funds and illegal contracts. So, so this was a government organization, basically the petroleum organization that was doing the unethical things. And I'll try to share my screen here, share screen. Yep. So the So yeah, NNP in Brooklyn funds two highest bidders in slop oil sale on our same people. The first, so we can see that this is a incident that happened in Nigeria. Basically, the Petroleum Corporation of Nigeria was involved in this unethical thing, and there was a whistleblower incident that was the same. And basically, the issues were that Mr. Olawade, who was the whistleblower in this case, alleged that large sums of money were being diverted from the NNPC accounts for personal use by top officials. He provided evidence for several transactions where funds meant for operational purposes were funed into private accounts, and he also pointed out that numerous contracts were awarded without following the process due to the companies linked to high-ranking officials within the NNPC. These contracts were inflated and the quality of work was also subpar. There was also a case of lack of transparency. The whistleblower emphasized the lack of transparency and accountability in the financial dealing of the NNPC, which he alleged was contributing to the massive losses in the nation's oil revenue. So, this was a brief overview about this incident, and how it was treated was like following his revelations, Mr. Olivia was dismissed from his positions at NNPC. He faced harassment and threats from individuals within and outside the organization aimed to intimidating him into silence. The whistleblowers found himself entangled in numerous legal battles with NNPC and his allies fighting defamation suits against him to discredit his allegations and drain his financial resources. Despite the initial backlash, there was a groundwell of support from the public and civil society organizations advocating for his protection. This eventually drew the attention of government and anti-corruption agencies. So this was about the treatment of this incident, and basically, if tell you more about the this unethical activity, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Environment Corruption Activity Commission launched investigation into the allegations. These allegations confirmed some of the whistleblowers' claim, leading to arrest and prosecution of several officials. The Nigerian government, in response to the scandal, initiatives reforms aimed at improving transparency and accountability, um, with stricter procedure process, the establishment of an independent audit committee, and the implementation of better financial controls. So while the whistleblower faced several personal and professional harassments, this action has a lasting impact on the fight against corruption in Nigeria. The exposure of these issues led to increased strictness of the NNPC's operation and a broader national dialogue on the importance of transparency and accountability in the oil sector. This incident also underscores the critical role whistleblowers play in upcoming corruption for the need of robust protection and support. So that was all about this incident, and you can find more about this if you search the NNPC whistleblowing incident 2017. I'll see you in the next sub video series. Hi. So this is the part 3C of the video series that we are following, and in this part, I'll be discussing one of the prominent personalities of Nigeria, one of the major business leader of Nigeria that has that he is a great personality and he shows leadership qualities, and I'll try to discuss about his vision integration, his career goals, and how he encouraged people all in this video series. So without any delay, I'll tell you his name. His name is Aliko Dangote. Yes, Aliko Dangote, one of the richest Africans on this planet. So he is the richest African actually, and he's from Nigeria. I'll share my screen. Yes. So he's Mr. Aliko Dangote having a net worth of 12.4 billion. You can see that he's Africa's richest person, founded and chairs Dangote Cement, the continent's largest cement producer. He owns 85% of the publicly traded Dangote Cement through a holding company. So he has a large share of that. Dangote Cement has been the capacity to produce 48.6 million metric tons annually and has operations in 10 countries across Africa. After many years in development, Dangote's fertilizers plant in Nigeria began operation in 2020 in March 2022. Dangote refinery began construction in 2016 and is expected to begin refining operations in 2024. So he's the person we're gonna talk about, and if we talk about him, like he's well known for his ethical behavior, and the reason why I was chosen due to his prominence as a business leader in Nigeria and Africa. As the founder and chairman of Dangote Group, he has made significant contributions to the economy and has been recognized internationally for his entrepreneurship skills and leadership. He has a clear and ambitious vision for both his company and Nigeria's economy. He aims to make Dangote Group a global leader to contribute to the industrialization of Africa, and his vision to to evident in the diversification of Dangote Group's portfolio, expanding his cement to sectors like agriculture, petrochemicals, and food processing. The Dangote refinery is expected to be one of the world's largest, is a testament of his long-term vision. If we talk about his integrity, he is known for his ethical business practices and commitment to transparency. Despite operating in a challenging environment with widespread corruption, Dangote has maintained a reputation of conducting business with integrity, which has helped him build lasting partnerships with international companies. And he leads by an example, demonstrating hard work, dedication, and ethical behavior. He is often seen practicing in long day-to-day operations of his company, showing his commitment and setting a standard for his employees. Dangote sets clear and achievable goals for his business, focusing on growth and expansion. His goal is to make Nigeria self-sufficient in cement production, has realized with the establishment of multiple cement plants across the country, and reducing import dependence. Dangote supports and mentors other entrepreneurs, encouraging them to pursue their business ambitions. So that's a really good thing. Although initiatives like the Dangote Foundation, he provides funding and mentorship to to startups and small businesses, fostering entrepreneurship in Nigeria. Dangote holds his executive and employees accountable, promoting a culture of responsibility. The success of Dangote's group, various inventures to can be attributed to the rigorous performance metrics and accountability systems he has implemented. While generally supportive of government policies, Dangote does not hesitate to challenge regulations that hinder business growth. He has openly criticized certain government policies, advocating for reforms that would benefit the private sector and enhance political development. Dangote emphasizes ethical business practices and upskill these businesses in his employees. Dangote exhibits a strong internal locus of control, believing in his ability to influence outcomes through his actions. He is also strategically wise and in making his business dealings. He balances with his ethical consideration. His strategical acquisition and expansion demonstrate his business acumen, but he has not been known to engage in any manipulative or unethical practices to achieve his goals. So he was Mr. Dangote, the founder of Dangote Group. There's an article on Bloomberg about him. I'll try to put it in the reference. I hope you like this video. Thank you. Hi. So this is the part 4 of the video series, and this is the last part, and I'm very happy. And basically, in this, I'll be telling you based on the all the videos that we have so far seen. I'll just try to discuss how whether whistleblowing is a leadership activity and how whistleblowing and leadership are not similar by providing supporting reference to the context. So, whistleblowing and leaderships are kind of interconnected concepts. I think each playing a crucial role in fostering integrity, accountability, and ethical governance. Basically, to explore how whistleblowing can be considered a leadership activity, it is essential to examine the similarities and differences between these two phenomena and their impact on organization and societal structure. Basically, I'll try to deliver into the nature of whistleblowing as a leadership activity, comparing and constructing its attributes with those of leadership and providing contextual examples and references to illustrate the interplay between these two concepts. So, if I go with the number one point, understanding whistleblowing and leadership, whistleblowing involves exposing unethical, illegal, or fraudulent activities within an organization or government. Whistleblowers act on their moral or ethical convictions to report wrongdoing, often at personal risk. Their characteristics of whistleblowing include moral courage, integrity, risk taking, while leadership involves guiding and influencing others to achieve common goals and improve organization or social reforms. Effective leaders possesses several traits includes vision, integrity, accountability, influence. Secondly, I will try to discuss how whistleblowing as a leadership activity. So this is the similarity. Basically, both whistleblowers and leaders are guided by ethical principles. Whistleblowers act to uphold these standards by exposing misconducts, while leaders model ethical behavior and set the tone of these organizations. Example, Mr. Edward Snowden, who was a whistleblower, revealed government's surveillance activities he believed violated privacy rights, right? And another point is risk taking and courage. Whistleblower um, often involves significant personal risk, similar to the risk leaders take when making tough decisions when they have to be popular, even they are not being popular, but are necessary to be for the greater good. One good example is Mr. Chelsea Manning, who disclosed clarified information to WikiLeaks, faced several consequences for her action. Her vigilance to risk her freedom mirrors the courageous decisions leaders make, right? And both whistleblowers and leaders have the potential to influence organizations or social changes. Whistleblowers can catalyze reforms and highlight issues that demand attention, while leaders drive strategical initiatives and culture shifts. The central bank bond scam in Sri Lanka was brought to light by whistleblowing Auditor General Gamini, leading to significant political and financial repercussions. The differences that I find as scope of influence. Leaders typically have broader organization or social influence, guiding and shaping overall strategy and culture. Whistleblowers, while impactful, often focus on specific instances of wrongdoing rather than the overacting organization goals. Also, leaders are officially recognized and entrusted and guiding their organizations, while whistleblowers are often outside the formal leadership structure and act independently. Basically, if we see the bond scam scandal, the exposure of this scandal by the Auditor General highlighted the significant financial misconduct. The whistleblower's actions led to the investigation and ongoing legal proceedings, demonstrating how whistleblowers can drive accountability and reform. Again, Nelson Mandela leadership was characterized by his vision for reconciliation and nation building, his ability to inspire and mobilize people, and his commitment for ethical governance. Steve Jobs, Mr. Jobs was known for his initiative, vision, and ability to challenge industry norms, setting clear good goals for Apple and driving organization success. Basically, in conclusion, I would say whistleblowing can be considered as a form of leadership in that it requires moral courage, a commitment to ethical standards, and the potential to influence significant change. However, it differs from the traditional leadership in scope, role, and the nature of actions. Whistleblowers act to correct specific wrongdoing, often risking personal consequences, while leaders proactively guide organizations and shape long term strategies. The interplay between the whistleblowing and leadership underscores the importance of integrity and accountability in both the roles. Effective leadership also involves fostering an environment where ethical behavior is encouraged and where the whistleblowers can operate without fear of retaliation. Conversely, whistleblowers play a crucial role in holding leaders accountable and ensuring that organization adheres to ethical standards. So I hope you like my video presentation. I highly value your feedback. That's all for today. Thank you.